Welcome back. You're listening to Become a Bat, a chronological look through Batman. I always screw up that intro. From the ages? I don't know. If you are new to our podcast, we are basically reading through all of Batman from the very beginning, starting with 1938. No, 39.
Yeah, in mostly chronological order.
In pretty much chronological order, yeah.
With a few like sidesteps here and there.
Yep. I'm your host, Tom.
And I'm Mike.
And today we are tackling Batman number 12, Story 2, The Wizard of Words, and Detective Comics 74, Tweedledee and Tweedledum. One of the more, I don't know, Z-list rogues gallery.
Yeah, it's pretty funny, though, because they're really old.
Yeah.
They're from the very beginning, or almost the very beginning.
Yeah, they predate Mad Hatter.
They do.
Yeah. Like, they're usually, I don't know, depicted as goons for him, right?
Yeah.
The only other story I can think of him being in is Long Halloween.
They're Joker goons pretty frequently, too.
You're right, yeah. Huh.
So I thought it was interesting that, like, our episode here is like a Joker story and then a Tweedledee, Tweedledum story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so, any other housekeeping? Housekeeping, yeah. Just general kind of talking about what else is going on. So we also did kind of soft launch our side podcast last week or a week or so ago. We did have a week break. Behind the Bat.
Oh, do you want Kelsey to design a logo for that?
Yeah, if she can, that'd be great.
We just got a 3D printer too. There's your side.
Oh, you have to show me
stuff. I got a 3D printer in my garage.
Ooh. So yeah, that's just a podcast where we kind of we're settling on a format where it's where we want to talk about stuff that isn't necessarily Batman, just kind of the other stuff that interests us. And I made a list of 20 different things that we both generally have an interest in, and we roll a d20, and we're gonna go talk about that topic. So it's gonna be more off the cuff, less prep work, just more conversational.
For anybody who doesn't know what a d20 is, it's a 20-sided die.
Yeah. So this week we'll give you a quick preview of it. We're gonna be talking about silent film. So I don't know if that was a spoiler.
Exciting, I know.
Yeah.
It's not super exciting for a lot of people, but
yeah.
It's very exciting for me.
Yes. Well, that's the thing. Some topics, I think, you'll speak more than I will. I will speak more than you. So that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a fun dynamic.
We'll see how articulate I am about this stuff because they're kind of really minimalist.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a different format.
Yeah.
All right. So with that out of the way, let's get to Batman number 12.
All right, folks, this is Batman number 12, story number 2, The Wizard of Words. Art by Bob Kane, Jerry Robinson, and George Russos. Written by Bill Finger. The splash page for this story is awesome. It is Joker's lair. He's sitting on his chair and firing a gun at Batman and Robin, who are breaking in through this giant window. But it's all the little details in here that make it awesome, because you have a framed picture of the Joker card on the wall. You have like a heart-shaped purse for some reason hanging off of a hook, and then like a table with a vase on it and an ottoman and also a rug. And all of these things are decked out with like playing card suits.
Yeah. It's going against the typical giant enemy, small Batman.
Yeah.
But Batman's doing like that stock pose that like Bob Kane does like a bunch.
I know. And then the last issue, like literally the last story that we read, I was like, wow, his cape is so fluid and realistic, and it doesn't look like giant bat wings. And then boom, bat wings are back.
Yeah.
So I thought that was funny too.
But otherwise, the art in this issue overall is banger. It's good.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I really do like the cheesy Batwing cape stuff. I think it's great. It looks really good here. It's just funny how like immediately we go back to Bob Kane and immediately it gets like that again.
It's cool that we can finally, like, we've been reading these enough, and I'm not calling myself an expert by any means, but you can pick out like the differences, and like we're developing an eye for that.
Every artist has their own individual stylistic flourishes.
Yeah.
And some of them are very unrealistic, like Rob Liefeld and the way he draws arms. This is Bob Kane's. It's the cape thing.
Yeah.
Also the boots and the gloves and the striations, like the lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then weirdly enough, like Robin's like hair, like I don't know, this
yeah. You're right. Forgot about that.
Yep.
All right.
You want to tackle this one, or shall I?
I really want to.
You want to?
You can totally read it, and I'll do the Tweedledee and Tweedledum if you want.
No, you said you really want to do this? Go for it.
I'm going to mess this up. Watch. Who laughs at the locksmiths of the law? Who wears the white dead mask of ancient comedy adjusted to the body of a living man? Yes, you guessed it. It is the Joker, the crime clown, the Harlequin of hate. Now that grimmest of jesters returns and laughs again as his eternally grinning lips mouth words. Words of slang. Harmless, innocent words which his warped mind twists into the language of crime. Yes, the Joker's actions speak for themselves when he becomes the Wizard of Words.
That was pretty good.
Didn't mess it up.
You didn't. You almost did when it was like the crime clown.
Yeah, I know.
I like because I was looking at him like I would have read the Harlequin of Hate first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, that was excellent.
Well, I feel like when I read it in like the radio announcer voice,
Mhm.
it's harder to mess it up.
Yeah.
Because you like automatically try to like pause at the right points
That might be
for
why
dramatic effect.
that might be how like the voice developed.
I think that's how it developed.
Yeah, because often I'm sure like a lot of times they just looked at it first time and like, all right, let's get to it.
Totally.
Speaking of, real quick, that laugh like in the corner there is like that Joker face is awesome.
That's my favorite because they reused that from a couple issues back.
Mm.
And the other one was even better because his collar was lower and his neck was all like strained.
Yeah.
I like that, yeah. Okay, here we go. Synopsis. Having just returned to his lair after his last crime, the Joker relaxes in his chair while his lackey, Slapsy, tells him some funny jokes. When he prefaces one of his jokes with, "This one will kill you," Joker gets suddenly serious and has an ingenious idea. He says that people say things all the time that are exaggerated, but if they actually did what they literally said, then they would be arrested for murder. Joker sends a letter to a local bank offering to crown him with dough, leaving the man thinking that the Joker wants to give him some money. Unfortunately for him, as he leaves work and heads home, Joker dumps a bunch of raw dough on him and then laughs his ass off.
You know, if I was reading that myself without like having written it,
Yeah.
I would have like thought like Joker took a dump out of his ass.
The very next day, the DA gets a letter from the Joker saying that he's going to commit a crime and frame him for it. I already know where this is going.
Mm-hmm.
Later that night, his girlfriend finds him tied up and suspended in a picture frame. It's not quite where I originally thought it was going to go. Like, like Batman and Robin always throwing picture frames at people's faces.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Next, the mayor gets a letter saying that there will be fireworks in his office when Joker gets a hold of him. The mayor is scared to death. But the next morning when he gets to work and opens the door, fireworks erupt all over his office. The plague of mad pranks makes headlines and leaves people wondering what's going to happen next. Bruce and Dick are reading a paper and make small talk about the Joker, and now he's leading up to something big and that they will be ready for it. Later that day, Commissioner Gordon gets a letter from Joker where he threatens to have a rip-roaring time partying and painting the town red. That night, police across town find Joker's men literally painting the town red, and Joker himself flying a plane over the slums and dropping gallons of red paint from it. Across town, Batman and Robin prepare to take on Joker. Batman determines that all of this has something to do with the bank that Joker dumped most of his paint on, seeing as it's the only location referenced in any of the pranks. All the other pranks are centered around people. Joker and his gang are on the roof of the bank, and Joker kicks a hole in the roof and climbs down right into the safe room. He reveals that he had mixed the paint with a powerful corrosive acid that ate through the roof. Joker and his henchmen take out the guard and are just about to start taking the money from the safe when Batman and Robin arrive and start throwing punches. The dynamic duo has the upper hand as usual, but then Joker goes to the fire extinguisher and manages to blind Batman with it and knock Robin unconscious with a blow to the head. As usual.
Mm-hmm.
Joker and his men escape. Back at Joker's lair, a man asks him why he didn't just shoot Batman, to which Joker replies that anyone can kill with a gun when he needs it to be killed with imagination. I think I totally butchered that.
Mm.
Joker has to kill people with his imagination, basically. He cannot kill people straight up with a gun. The next night, Bruce and Dick are playing chess when they hear over the radio that Joker called Commissioner Gordon and promised to make hot news and set the world on fire. Though through some deductive reasoning, the duo realize that Joker is referring to the old newspaper building that was abandoned because it was a fire hazard. They head there and find and stop Joker. Unsure whether Joker was referring to the old building actually or the new building, the dynamic duo split up. Robin heads to the new building to check in, and Batman explores the old fire trap building. Not long after he is inside, he is pistol whipped by Joker and held hostage by his men. Joker takes Batman and his men. Joker takes Batman and his men tie him up to a huge gyroscope and spin him around at top speeds. Yeah, that seems like torture, but people do that for fun.
Yeah.
I remember in elementary school people doing that for fun.
I think it depends on how you're in there and how long, but
I couldn't take it. At first, he's going to spin Batman until he dies, but then he realizes that that's not a fitting or honorable death for his nemesis. He stops the gyro and sets up a small wooden plank over a pit of fire and spikes and tells the dizzy Batman to cross it. As he forces Batman to cross the chasm at sword point, Robin swings into action. He's back from the other paper planes and he takes out all of Joker's men. Joker takes the time to lift and shake the plank that Batman is on, sending him flying into the chasm of fire and spikes. Luckily, Robin is the boy wonder, and he acts fast and he swings down just in the nick of time to save Batman. The next day, Commissioner Gordon and the DA converse over a story in the paper about a man who found a ton of gold and is bringing it into the city. Gordon is worried that he will be robbed, but the DA tells him that it will be concealed in a normal, nondescript bag. Unfortunately for them, in the next room, Joker is listening in on their call. He boards the train the next day with the homemade gold detector. As soon as he points it at the right bag, it makes a sound and he grabs the bag and runs. He jumps out of the train and onto a rail car that he secretly attached earlier. Except Batman was expecting him and gives chase in the Batmobile. Joker changes tracks, but the Dark Knight leaps from his car onto the rail car and engages with him blow for blow. Another train suddenly bears down on them, forcing them both to jump off of the rail car and over a bridge into the river below. Both men survive the jump and begin fighting again. As they get to the top of the bridge, there is a Zeppelin tied up there. Joker cuts the cord and takes off on the blimp. Batman follows and delivers one perfectly placed uppercut to the clown's chin that sends him flying off of the blimp back down to the icy waters below. Batman tells Robin that nobody could survive that fall. The end. Finally, we're back to the Joker plummeting to his death.
Quote unquote death, yeah. Yeah, it's been a while since they did that. Like they've been comfortable just taking him to jail. But now he's quote unquote gone.
Now he's dead again.
So what do you think about this one?
I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was more of a throwback to the older Joker stories. It still had like the whole he's doing this one dumb thing over and over and over to a bunch of different people.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the fact that he actually plummets to his death, and I like seeing him threaten his henchmen.
Yeah.
You know, like they're saying something that they think is funny, and he's like, "Shut up."
Yeah.
I have an idea.
You get scared.
You know,
I actually kind of found this to be it's interesting. You thought it was like a throwback. I kind of found it more of as like an inflection point.
Isn't inflection like throwback sort of in a way? Like you're thinking back about something else that already happened.
Well, the word I'm thinking of means like a point where something changes in a different and takes a new direction.
Oh, like a turning point?
Yes, a turning point.
Okay.
So like the past like year or two of Joker stories have been basically him doing like crimes to make money, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes they're funny, but like the ultimate goal is like he wants to rob somebody, get their gold or their jewelry, you know. This one was just about like he almost had a philosophy behind it. Like he's doing this like specifically to be funny. It's not about the gold. It's not about the gold.
Yeah.
Even though at the end he does. I don't know.
I think it's both. I think it is a move. It is turning point to moving forward to giving him new motivation.
Mm-hmm.
Which is that he's not just killing to kill. He's killing to be entertaining.
Yeah.
You know, and he's trying to like put a message out there. He doesn't want to just shoot someone with a gun. It's not fun that way.
And especially with Batman, like this is what, like probably his first time. He's like, I don't want to just kill him regular style.
Right.
What's the fun in that?
This is the first time you're like, oh, he's not just gonna kill him. He's gonna like do something creative, and he has to die in some sort of blaze of glory.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also a throwback because he's still doing those like dumb joke crimes, and he's doing the same different like spins on the same thing to a bunch of different people. It's both. It's like it's pulling him back to what he was, but it's also pushing him forward and giving him new motivation.
Yeah.
It's a good story.
It's a really good story.
Yeah.
That's kind of all my thoughts on it. Like, Yeah, I guess that's all I got to say.
Yeah. I feel like this artwork was like a nice mix of like the more updated, more fluid artwork from like the last couple stories
Mm-hmm.
and the Bob Kane real classic, cheesy, cartoony looking artwork.
Yeah.
It looks like it's kind of hard to describe. It's drawn like the Bob Kane stuff, which
Mm-hmm.
we know is not all necessarily Bob Kane. But it's more fluid, like the way it moves, like the
Yeah.
poses and stuff like that, and the framing of the action feels a little bit more like the more modern stuff that we read.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole story is like a 50-50 mix.
Mm-hmm.
Like the story itself, the motivation for Joker, and the art, it's all kind of right in the middle. But maybe that's why I liked it so much.
Yeah, and it's gonna be interesting to see where Joker goes from here. Like, is he gonna be more jokey, or is it gonna be more
More dark.
more dark? Because he's definitely turned away from the darker stuff,
Yeah.
and now it's just kind of more about the jokes.
We'll see.
Yep. So let's get into them panels. I saw you cut this one up in like two different pieces. I just like put like the whole one, so we had like both.
Yeah, I was going to put the whole one, but when I was reading it, it was cut into two pieces.
Okay.
So I was going to go and like put them together. I just ran out of time.
Yeah. So we were referring to Batman's like this cross section of Batman's like secret lair hangar thing.
It's basically the Batcave already. They're just not calling it that.
Yeah. They're still going for the Wayne house and then the old abandoned barn.
Yeah, but it's under the ground.
Mhm.
It shows it like laid out,
Yeah.
like a schematic,
Mm-hmm.
which is super cool because the way that they show it and they show like all the little like labels describing everything,
Yeah.
it reminds me of those books. I can't remember who put them out, like Golden House or something. They were like the Batman.
DK, I think is the brand.
Yeah, maybe DK. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like the ultimate guide to Batman or
Yeah.
whatever. What they do it for every superhero, but in those they always have like layouts of the Batcave, layouts of the utility belt.
Mhm.
I
I know
love
what
that
you're
kind of
talking
stuff.
about, yeah.
And this definitely looks like that. So they're trying to kind of give you the insider knowledge as to what Batman has that
Mhm.
makes him so good.
Interesting that it's so far it's more about the utility.
Mm-hmm.
And as we saw in like an episode or two ago, he's got his trophy room,
Yeah,
and then it'll eventually evolve into the cave, which has both his trophies and his, the utility where he stores stuff, and he does his like
right.
Batman thinking with the computer
Yeah,
decades from now.
it's funny actually. Like the Batcave here reminds me kind of like weirdly enough of like Batman v Superman because all it is vehicles and a repair workstation and an elevator that takes you up and down.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
there's no trophy room or anything. Like there's no
Yeah.
there's no fluff. It's
Mhm.
all just work.
Mhm.
Like whereas like the trophy room is like self-reflection and like
Yeah.
like looking back at the things you've done and like being like I've done a good job.
yeah. Within BVS, he's like, there's a little bit of reflecting, but he's more about just focused on the goal.
Yeah. Well, he's reflecting on tragedy,
Yeah,
but that's it. Everything else is just like I need to
Mhm.
build a better Batmobile. I need to be a better Batman.
yeah.
So
I like the pulley, the winch system. That's gonna like make the plane go like.
yeah.
I wonder if there's like a slingshot to just make it go straight up.
I bet
and-
you there is. I bet you it hooks onto it and then
Yeah.
it pulls up and then when it hits the top it just flies
Yeah,
off.
that's gonna be. Yeah, that's a clever way of doing a runway.
Right. Yeah, that's cool.
I
I
don't
wonder how it actually like gets out of the barn though, because with how it's drawn, it doesn't make any sense. Like
I didn't even think
it
about
comes
that.
up under the barn and then it's supposed to just like shoot out through the roof or something. Like
Maybe. Well, it probably doesn't shoot out. It probably just like turns around and like exits through the barn,
maybe.
like straight ahead. But so I guess you did pretty much all of the. I think you did like all of the panels because you picked all the ones I would have done. So it's like looks like you did his first crime, which is the
The frame.
framed man.
I thought that was great. 'Cause
Yeah.
I was really expecting him to like throw a frame in someone's face, like Batman and Robin do. Like he threw the dough over a guy,
Yeah.
but no, he literally like ties him into a frame, like a giant picture frame, like an X. He
Yeah.
like ties his hands and ties his legs to it.
He's making him literal, but like in a twisted way.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Let's see. After
And
that.
also, that would take a lot of work and a lot of strength, and more than just one person. To do
Yeah.
that.
Well, he definitely had his goons. He probably knocked him out first, so that like he woke up, and he's like, "What the hell's going on?"
I want to know what the little placard above his head says. Like,
Oh, I bet it would be funny.
it's probably something like, "Here lies an idiot."
Yeah.
Blah 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 blah. Yeah.
Framed by his own petard.
Right. Oh, this next one is so good.
Yeah, that's a dynamic shot. Like, I really like the way it curves.
Yeah. My only nitpick of this is the way that the roof is broken
Mhm.
because it looks so fake. But the shot, it's like it's kind of hard to tell what's going on actually for a couple seconds when you first start looking at it. But it's the safe deposit room,
Yeah.
right? And Batman and Robin are jumping down from the ceiling where they've broken a hole to attack Joker and his thugs, who are like coming through the vault current. Like it has motion. It has like it feels like a live picture, right? Like they're jumping down to stop Joker, who's just now coming through the door into the safe deposit room.
Yeah. Yeah. And it implies a little bit of like action going on. Well, a lot of action going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, also, Joker is confused in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like the way it's framed matches Joker's confusion.
Right. He's like, "What? How is this happening?"
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good.
This next one is hilarious.
Oh yeah, it's really good.
It's Joker spraying the water over his over Batman's eyes, and Batman's like, "Oh, my eyes, my eyes."
And that's probably why he wears contacts or like has like those lens covers over his with his cowl.
Yeah, they haven't explained that in like this yet.
I think they will eventually. Just like they'll probably have a story that references like how his eyes are protected and what he uses in his mask.
Yeah,
but we'll see. We'll wait.
Yep.
Patiently until they decide to describe it. This next one here, in Joker's Secret Sanctum.
The Secret Sanctum.
The Secret Sanctum. I just picked this one because his thugs are like, "Why don't you just kill Batman? Why don't you just let me plug him?" And then he's like explaining it. So basically he says, "No, anyone can kill with a gun, but I'm not anyone. I'm the Joker."
Mm-hmm.
And then it does a close-up of him when he's like touching his chin and like scheming. And his eyebrows look huge.
Yeah, he looks funky in this
but
one.
He's like pissed off looking, so he's not smiling, which makes it look kind of weird.
The huge eyebrows really remind me of George Romero.
They also remind me of Wolverine.
Yeah,
like the Frank Miller Wolverine.
Caesar Romero, excuse me.
Yeah,
George Romero.
I knew who you were talking about.
Yeah.
But then this is the close up, like the dramatic close up on his face, and then he's like, "When I kill, it must be with some imagination. But you are right. I must get Batman before he gets me." It's good stuff.
He's come a long way from like trying to shoot Robin like a few like a couple years ago.
I do really like that like more physical Joker who just wants to stab you and kill you, and not the one who wants to come up with these elaborate over the top joke scenarios. But I would rather have like a combination of both, which is I think what they're going for right now.
Yeah, I mean,
he's funny and jokey, but he's also brutal and wants to just kill you. But he wants to kill you in a creative way.
I think the way we view him is like obviously through a lens of like decades and decades from now, but like he definitely is like fluid in like all those aspects as the writers make these.
Yeah.
So I don't think like they particularly had like one version in mind. It's just kind of like what they need to suit the story and how they like their particular Joker.
It's weird. He has all of those elements that make him who he is, but different writers and they sort of like take their turn like in using certain elements and like expanding on certain aspects of his personality.
Yeah. All right, you're gonna have to describe what the hell's going on here.
Is Joker pistol whipping Batman in the head?
I skipped ahead. I skipped that one. Oops. Yeah, that one. Him pistol whipping Batman's like very, very simple.
I just thought it was funny. Like he's like, "Come into my trap, Batman," and he hits him in the head with a pistol. Like it's real simple. How often do you see Batman getting hit in the head with a pistol and then just sort of like blacking out? And like look at his hand. Like one of his fingers is like,
oh yeah.
You can tell he's losing consciousness because he's doing like weird stuff.
Poor Batman.
Are you talking about this one here with the gyro or whatever?
Yeah,
it is?
Yeah.
So this is Batman being strapped into the gyroscopic machine.
That's right.
Does not look fun. It's like spinning him around in circles and then flipping him upside down at the same time.
It kind of seems like he's like strapped to like a giant quarter.
Yeah.
And
these machines are like a real thing. Like they have this stuff at like carnivals.
Yeah, I've seen these.
People do it for fun.
Yeah. But
it's just the way he's describing it because he's saying that in a few moments his blood will hit his brain with such pressure that he'll go insane. Like,
yep.
I don't think that's real, but
it can't be good.
Yeah, I'm sure that people would have believed it reading this at the time.
Yeah. So after that is one of Batman looking very, very confused as he experiences trauma.
Oh, in the next panel?
Yeah.
It's him. He's so dizzy from being spun around. He's like holding his forehead and staring into the palm of his hands and trying to focus. And he's like, everything's going around, spinning, can't see straight.
Yep.
And
That's
he's like
difficult.
imagining falling off of this plank down into like the chasm below,
Mm-hmm.
while the Joker laughs and he falls to his death.
Our next panel is Robin rescuing Batman from falling into a
Fiery, spiky pit.
fiery spike. You figure that the fire is like kind of redundant.
It's the Joker.
But-
He knows that Batman's like unkillable. It's got to have
Yeah.
spikes and fire.
That's right. Yep. You think making the spikes actually too hot would heat them and melt them, perhaps?
If anything, he should have poisonous spikes on fire.
Oh yeah.
You know, like you gotta like add the redundancy to the redundancy.
Yeah. Yep. Well, the fire would actually probably burn away the poison.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah,
But how long is it gonna be on fire before Batman falls and lands on it?
that's true.
We don't know. That's a good shot though. I love that dramatic shot of Robin swinging in to save Batman, who's just like falling helplessly into the
Mhm.
fiery spike pit.
Yeah,
It's good stuff.
that's gonna be a difficult like way to catch somebody too, especially
It
someone
is.
like twice your size.
Well, and realistically, it wouldn't be effective. Like
Yeah,
Robin's swinging and he's gonna grab him, but as soon as he grabs him, the motion would just stop and he would like swing back to a standstill and be hovering above
yeah.
flaming spikes.
Maybe both of them fall in.
They do this kind of stuff all the time, but you just sort of have to accept it for what it is.
Yep. And then our last panel is Joker and one of his goons running away.
Yeah.
Yep.
This one I just thought was funny because he says that Batman will regain his balance with vengeance in his eyes, which I thought that's just a good way to describe Batman. And then his goon's like, and in each fist, and I don't want to be around when that happens. They don't like being punched.
Well, we are going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we will have vengeance in our eyes and talk about Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Thank you. Oh, shit. I screwed that up. Whatever. Take a quick break. I realized I screwed that up because I copy and pasted the thing, so it still says like Wizard of Words, and I'm like, Wizard of Words, that was the last story we just did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so my bad there. So the one we're doing right now is Detective Comics number 74, Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Keep thinking it's got to have some other title, but no, that's the title.
It's such a simple title, but
It is.
straight to the point.
So this one was the art by Bob Kane, Jerry Robinson, George Russos, and a new person, Charles Paris. And it was written by Don Cameron. And the cover is... describe this cover for me.
Well, it's a yellow cover
Mhm.
with a red banner, and it's kind of hard to tell what's going on, but it looks like Tweedledee and Tweedledum are standing at the top of a hill, and whichever one of them, because they look exactly the same, I can't tell.
Yeah.
Let's say Tweedledum, right, is like pushed Tweedledee over and rolled him down the hill like a bowling ball towards Robin, and he already hit Batman. So Batman's like falling on his ass, and Robin's like, "Oh no!"
Yeah, Batman doesn't... Like, he kind of looks like he's having fun, actually.
A little bit.
It's
He
a
also
very
looks a little scared, like he wasn't expecting one of them to push the other one down the hill like a bowling ball.
Yeah, it is a bit of an ambiguous facial expression.
Yeah, the only way you can tell what's going on is the motion lines. If
Mhm.
not for those, you would be completely clueless as to what's
Yeah.
happening.
It almost makes it seem like Tweedledum is like floating midair,
Yeah.
but like he's mid bounce.
Yep.
And now we have our splash page where it does. I can't say that this is the large, giant enemy, small Batman Robin, since like they're both Tweedledee and Tweedledum and Batman Robin are small,
Yeah.
but they're both like on top of a desk or a table or some kind of surface. They're like Robin like standing next to like a inkwell and a quill pen or a fountain pen.
Yeah.
Batman is just kind of like running towards him, and they're looking at Tweedledee and Tweedledum. They're in a mirror. Yeah, that's a mirror.
I think this has nothing to do with the actual like story.
No,
I think this is like trying to say that this is like the desk of an author.
yeah,
Maybe Lewis Carroll, but that's pushing it
yeah. He would have been dead by now.
because like it's a writer's desk.
Mhm.
Clearly, there's a phone on it. There's an inkwell. There's
Yeah.
a calligraphy pen. There's a lamp. But then there's like the stack of books, and one of them is Alice Through the Looking Glass,
Mm-hmm.
which is where the characters come from. And then they're in a mirror. They're being seen through a mirror.
Yeah.
A looking glass is a mirror. So they're like, it's two references to Alice in Wonderland, basically.
Right. And in it, I'm going to say Tweedledee because he's the one on the left. He is shooting towards them, but they're looking at the mirror. So it's implying that they're behind Batman and Robin, but Batman and Robin are looking at the mirror. So they're looking the wrong way. They're being duped.
Well, and the other one is like Tweedledum, if that's who it is, because you can't really tell. He's like pointing at him, like, look, he's shooting you.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got him fooled. They probably died right after this. These versions. All right. Let me get to the splash thingy here. See if I can get this right today. I'm rusty as hell today. Lightning speed and thunderbolt force, directed by brains geared to the swiftness of light. These are the mighty weapons of the Batman and Robin against the underworld. But how can the dynamic duo cope with the new challenge of a cunning menace that squats in the center of a spidery web and waits for its foes to seek their own doom? You'll find the answer in this fantastic tale, which proves, however different their methods, in some ways all crooks are much alike as Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
All right.
I reversed their thing, but...
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You didn't trip up.
I didn't. Almost. Oh, anyway. Moving on to the synopsis. The story begins with the deadly robbery of a fabric warehouse. Batman and Robin hear a gunshot and head towards the warehouse. They swoop in to find the robbers. The leader of the robbers is a curious fat man sitting in a chair, calmly watching the carnage. Batman and Robin run towards him, but their feet are caught in steel traps. I wrote, it autocorrected it to straps for some reason.
They're like bear traps, but they're not bear traps. They're
more like defanged bear traps.
Or like fox traps, I think.
Yeah. They're not like stabbed. Anyway, the gang spares Batman and Robin and they leave. The dynamic duo get out of the traps and listen in on the police radio to figure out where they went. They hear about a fat man and a couple of goons acting weird around a jewelry store nearby. So, a few minutes before this, a fat, round man in a top hat arrived in a fancy limo. He gets his goon to go to to walk into the jewelry store and asks the jewelry store manager to bring him the best diamonds for him to inspect. He tells basically the manager that his boss is too fat to get in and out of the car. And the manager thinks like, okay, this is a little weird, but I'll bring a guard out with me. We'll do this. It'll be fine. So they go to the car and he shows him close to $1 million worth of diamonds. The fat man tells him that his man will go back inside with him and they will empty out their safe. That's when Batman and Robin show up and attack. After taking out the goons, they approach the fat man and are shot by a lightning bolt out of his cane. The next day, Bruce and Dick reflect on what went wrong. They realize that the fat man was dressed differently in their two encounters. How could he be at two different places at the same time? Obviously, two different people. So they decide to pay a visit to the Fat Man's Emporium, which is a plus-size clothing store. The owner greets him, but is wondering why he'd be there since he's not plus-sized. Also, like it kind of seems like the store owner and Bruce are like on a first name basis.
Yeah.
So maybe they're just like personal friends. I don't know. Obviously, Bruce isn't a customer there. So Bruce says he's curious if any of the customers if any of his customers are a pair of fat twins. And after thinking about, his customers, he thinks they might be talking about the Tweed boys, Dumfrey and Deaver. And he gives Bruce their address. So they walk by the house and decide that Batman and Robin need to pay them a visit. Later that day, the Tweeds discuss their run-ins with Batman and realize that Batman is probably onto them. Then they come up with a plan to trap him. Batman and Robin bring the Batplane and rappel down the skylight into the house, but it ends up being a trap door. And they fall into a net. They're greeted by the Tweeds, now dressed up as Tweedledee and Tweedledum from Alice in Wonderland, accompanied by 2 white rabbits and a strange electrical gun. I thought it was like a Gatling gun at first. Like I had to reread it a couple times and be like, oh, okay, that's what's going on. So the White Rabbit cuts the net, and Batman and Robin fall onto this metal plate, and they are shot by the electrical gun, which has a current that makes them freeze like statues. The Tweedles leave, so then they can go rob a costume party. Batman slowly brings his arm towards his waist, and he unbuckles his utility belt and tosses it onto the gun, knocking it over and freeing them from its grip. Batman calls the manager of the costume party to tell them that Batman and Robin are going to swing by and pay them a visit. So the Tweedles and their compatriots make a grand splash at the costume party. After some time, a judge announces the winners to the costume party. The Tweedles, congratulations. They're hoisted up and given their prize. The giant opens up. Oh, excuse me. The giant opens up. Anyways, they open up the giant box, and Batman and Robin spring out, and they start to deliver their swift justice. Just then, one of the goons threatens to throw a grenade into the crowd. Robin swings by, knocks it out of his hand, and throws it onto the hanging ball, which comes down and crashes onto the goons, and then everyone is arrested. The end.
The end.
Mm-hmm. There's not much to say that this one I'll be honest.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It's sort of like the Napoleon one, or like any of those stories where it's like based on fictional characters.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well, Napoleon's not a fictional character.
you know what I mean, like where it's I'm saying
Pre-established?
it's kind of like where they base the villains on real people, or
Yeah.
they base them on fictional characters. Either way, they're pulling from some kind of source to
Mhm.
write the story. It's not like a fully original character,
Yeah.
but we know that these characters become like actual Batman rogues that reappear.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting that they use the public domain to their advantage here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't help but think about Grant Morrison's runs on Batman, especially like when he has like what's his name, like Mr. Piggy or whatever,
Professor Pig.
Professor Pig, like, and he's got all his lackeys wearing like rabbit masks and like
Yeah.
fox masks and like other animal heads. It feels a little bit like that, but this obviously is way before that. So if anything, this is like what inspired that.
Yeah, it's very fantastical.
I'd say like it has like a whimsical quality to it. Like there is
Mhm.
a threat involved with these guys, but then like when you see that their lackeys are like rabbits, like
Honestly, it actually I'm looking at the screenshot here of like one of the white rabbits, and he looks very menacing, way more menacing than Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
I was gonna say like it sort of has like there is like a menacing threat to it. Like it doesn't feel so so immature and so like
Yeah.
childlike like some of the other ones. It feels like they would actually kill them.
I'm wondering because like usually, you have the rogues and like Joker, and then he's got his goons. But at this point so far, like all of his goons have just been like mobsters, right?
Yeah.
And even in this story, they're just like, regular ass mobsters. But then, Tweedledee and Tweedledum, they go to the costume party. So their goons are dressed up as like, the white rabbits. I wonder if this gives them the idea that like this was really fun to draw these rabbits.
Yeah.
More fun to draw than just regular goons. And then this kind of becomes an impetus for them to be like, all right, let's make all of our gangs themed after a thing.
Maybe. I was kind of
Yeah.
thinking that too, because it does feel different, and with
Mhm.
having their thugs wearing costumes and stuff.
Yeah.
I like it more. Like generally like the story is not that exciting. This issue is nothing really to like write home about, but
Mhm.
it's cool seeing that element alone like feels really ahead of its time.
Yeah. So okay. So let's get to the panels here. I think I put this one here, just because I really like how detailed the Tweedles are,
Mm-hmm.
and they look also very, very menacing.
Yeah, they look a
especially-
little deranged.
Yeah, very, very deranged. The way that like the lighting, he's got all the black lines like on his like head, kind of implying like a shadow,
Mm-hmm.
and it like seems like it's like a close up. Like if this was a movie, it would definitely like slowly close up on his face and like linger there
Yeah,
as he like speaks very slowly and menacingly and more deranged and like
well, and the shadows are really effective too, like you were saying.
yeah, it's
The shadows under his eyes and the shadows around his forehead, and
yeah. This makes him seem very scary.
yeah.
His lips are like, really fucked up too.
Well, it makes him seem deranged.
Yeah.
like kind of like the Joker, like or like the Scarecrow.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't just seem like a guy in a costume. He seems like a guy in a costume who definitely has something wrong with him.
Yeah,
You know.
Yeah, we're definitely becoming like getting to the point where Gotham is becoming more about like known for like weird ass villains than just like mobsters.
Right.
I like it.
The shot of their house is really eerie.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. It reminds me of another issue that we read not that long ago, where they went into someone's lair that was like a house like this. I want to say it was the Joker's, because remember he had like that haunted house where he was in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of the villains get like their own houses. Like I don't know, just in general, because it's just a way to like get them out of the city and like kind of
Yeah.
give them like a haunted house kind of like scenario.
It's funny too though, because like nowadays you think of like a villain, and you think of like them setting up shop and creating a lair in some like abandoned factory in the
Yeah.
city. But like here, they're all going into like the suburbs and taking these like haunted looking houses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So after that, we got Batman and Robin. They're in the net, and then we got the shot of the electrical gun. It looks like a Gatling gun to me.
It totally does. The only thing that makes it seem electric is the wire coming off the back end.
Yeah, which I mean, if you like take a quick glance, you could mistake it for like a ribbon of like of ammo,
Yep.
but a magazine. But otherwise, yeah. And then we got Tweedledee and Tweedledum, which they both in their pinstripe like suits. They do look dumb,
Yep.
almost like Dr. Eggman actually.
They look pretty much exactly like Tweedledee and Tweedledum from the Disney movie.
Yeah. And then we got the two white rabbits. One of them is like in a suit with a top hat. The other one is just like a gigantic, oversized rabbit, almost like a jackrabbit
Mm-hmm.
with yellow. They both have yellow ears. I wonder why they got yellow ears.
I don't know.
But yeah, something like if without any context, I would think the one in the top hat would be like the leader.
It's like, we only have one suit. It's mine.
Yeah. So after that, we got another panel of them holding up people at the costume contest.
Mm-hmm.
Again, deranged, very deranged, with just a rabbit holding a Tommy gun. Excuse me, holding a Tommy gun.
I think the yellow ears is just like an inking mistake, because in this panel they're pink.
Yeah. Interesting. So after that, I think you chose. Did you choose this one or did I?
I chose most of these on it. I think
Mm-hmm.
I put a lot of panels in.
Yeah, you got to it before I did, so I just added the ones I wanted to throw in.
I just like the dialogue here, because like the way that Tweedledum or Tweedledee is drawn, it's really similar to that first panel,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like it's shot from underneath,
Yeah.
and he looks really deranged, and he's saying that you may break my arms and legs as we pull out, and if so, you'll regret it very much. But then Batman is saying like, if we break anything short of our necks, I guarantee you'll regret it. I feel like that's a
Yeah.
really good line right there. It's like, if you don't kill me, I'm coming for you.
The way I imagine that he delivered the line, Tweedledee or Doodledum, I can't remember. He's got a cigar in his mouth, so I'm imagining he's like saying it through his teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, without like opening and closing his mouth like normal. Yeah, which again, more menacing. I think I put this one here, the next panel.
Mm-hmm.
Not for the dialogue or anything. It's just a shot of Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson, but it is breaking the normal like costumes for Bruce and Dick.
Yeah.
We're always commenting Dick. They both make them look like not their costumes, but they're normal streetwear.
Right.
They make them look like Batman and Robin.
Yeah, like Bruce always wears a blue suit, like Batman blue.
Mm-hmm. And Robin is wearing this red and yellow outfit.
Mm-hmm.
But now, in this one, Bruce is wearing a brown coat with a bow tie, polka dotted bow tie, blue hat, and then Dick is wearing like this green suit,
Yeah.
like suit jacket blazer thing. Very off model. I don't know. It's interesting. After that, I chose this last panel. I was kind of surprised you didn't do this one.
I think it's interesting because Batman's like swinging a lasso, basically. He's about to like throw his rope, but instead of chucking it with like a grapple hook, it's a lasso.
Yeah, I know. It's just a really nice dynamic photo of photo.
Also, Batman's like
Batman.
throwing a peace sign for some reason.
I think he's just kind of like like trying to like balance himself.
But it's totally a peace sign.
Yeah, that's an interesting shot. So next time we're gonna be doing. I wanted to finish off Batman number 12 because last time I said we were like done with 1942, and it turns out we're not. So let's finish up Batman number 12.
Right.
Story number 3 is called "The Thrill to Conquer." And story number 4 is Around the Clock with Batman.
All right.
Which one did you want to do?
The Thrill to Conquer. I have no idea what that's about.
Yeah, these could be rogues. These could be anything. I'll take Around the Clock with Batman. Thank you so much for listening, and check out Behind the Bat. And yeah, that's all for this week. Thank you so much. Good night.
Later, guys.